One. Hi there, welcome back to my beautiful full disclosure channel. Do not adjust your screen. It is the one and only Mark Attwood. Woo! Mark Attwood! Hello, darling. How are you?
Hello, Dani Henderson. How are you?
I'm so good. So happy to see you. It's been so long. Oh my God. And you just got your channel back, didn't you?
I've got two channels back. Now I don't know where to put anything,
Stick it all on the big one, darling. That's what I would do.
said the actress to the bishop.
Doody doody. Well, it's so good to see you, Mark. You're an author. I mean, there's so many layers to you. You've been in the disclosure movement, as in telling and reporting on truth for absolutely years. You write the most beautiful, impactful poetry. You're a bombastic mudder fudder. I mean, there are so many titles one could give to the great Mark Atwood, but how would you refer to yourself and tell us more about the work that you've consistently been doing all these years?
Well, I describe myself as an idiot in a kitchen. That's when I started the podcast. I don't know. What I've come to realize over the last 5 years, especially, is that I'm definitely a bridge. And I just keep getting up every day because this is a spiritual war, and I'm motivated by not stopping until the missing children stops happening. I know that this is a simulation a real simulation, and I'm too curious about the truth about stuff because I've had lots of experiences. I can't fully answer them at the moment, so I continuously look for people that know more than me, and it's
Mhm.
just been a hell of a ride, and I'm enjoying it. And that's really my message to everybody: is enjoy. The first thing you've got to do is take care of yourself and enjoy your day, because it is a matrix, and we are the creators. So it's fascinating watching, humanity being shaken to the core and having to rewrite everything we know about everything because we were locked in it. We were completely duped with amnesia for so long. But I've got righteous indignation rather than anger that gets me, that drives my engine. But also, you got to keep laughing, and you've got to, and I love learning. That's the other thing. I mean, I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful for that. That I took a lot of what I learned, and I'm just taking direction all the time. I mean, I say it's from above. I don't like to specify where it's from. I say God, but just for ease of, just for a word that people understand. But even that word, people say source or some spirit or anything. I don't try. I try not to get bogged down in that. I just it's and funnily enough, we were saying just beforehand that we get guided all the time, and I'm finding it fascinating how the internet seems to be driven by consciousness, not just technology. Because a lot of people will say, I was only thinking the other day about apple cider vinegar, and I didn't say anything. And then there's a load of apple cider vinegar videos popping up in my feed, and it's kind of like that. I mean, I was just putting on. My daughter said, "I want to go see this film this afternoon." As I was driving here to talk to you, and it's called Begonia, and I was like, "Well, the first thing, cinema's quite a traumatic experience at the moment in a lot of a lot of cases, even though I like reading into the films." And she's interested in this one, and I watched the trailer, and I was like, "Actually, it looks quite interesting." And then I let it carry on. The video just went on to the next video, and it was a clip from Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who. If people watching this, I was a massive Doctor Who fan. I produced and directed a Doctor Who show that went on the BBC and toured the world, and became was in the West End. So I had a big involvement from the sidelines with Doctor Who for a long time. But anyway, this clip popped up, and it was just the doctors talking about, I'm not here to win. I'm not here to, piss people off. S- Most of us are going to die, but if I do the right thing, some of us might survive. And I was listening to that going, well, that's me. That's what I'm doing. It's like, just do the right thing. And on that journey, you'll piss some people off. You'll fall out with people. You'll get it wrong sometimes. But if you keep getting up and every day and trying to do just trying to do the right thing, then we're on the right path. I don't even know what the question was now.
No, you're absolutely right. I love it. No, we're saying kind of what titles you'd give yourself, and then you were sharing, of course, your meaning, your reason, your thinking, your belief, and then obviously being a proper human in terms of expressing that get things wrong. We right them, but it's our wrong to our right as we're on this journey. And you
Mm,
also said that we are in a simulation. I could not agree more. We are inside a literal video game. It is a video game. It is horrible for so many to accept that, and that's okay. They'll get there or they won't. But for those of us that understand a little more, well, we would like to think we understand a little more. But one of the things that gives it all away for me is the fact that even the ETs cannot fully describe God. They're not on the same level as God. And as we go through this video game and we break down the different layers, it's like, on the, if you're playing a proper video game, which everyone has been given access to, here's a video game, guys. Now, if we apply it consciously to us and we go, okay, I'm inside a video game. What do I need to do? The name of the game is vibration and consciousness. If I go down a negative road, I'm going to only attract more division and negativity. But if I keep going, and on the way, when some video games you get like a golden nugget and you grab the golden nugget and you bring it in, and then you go up another level. That's what we're doing. And when people can, for example, when it comes to the extraterrestrials, accept that they are not the gods. They are not the gods. And the Anunnaki, they are not the gods. They also were part of this simulation that we're in. And as my own journey into consciousness, what I think it is, what I think this planet is, it takes me to so far beyond. And I have never, ever been given, for me, an answer to the question, what is God? Who made me? What is creator? What is source? And then when it comes to the ETs, that they can't even answer that question, and then go back down here to the academic snobbery that we find ourselves falling into on the seeker's journey. Socrates, Aristotle, blah blah blah. And then we try and pull information from them as we're told they said it, apparently, and then we go beyond all of that and go, do you know what? Everything has been mapped and planned and scripted and hidden and held. And so, what is this all about? And it's people like you and me that have the courage on this journey to the seeker's journey, the self-discovery, but sharing with our brothers and sisters. People like you and me that postulate or hypothesize or deliver information that we hope people will think about and come to their own conclusions and do not worship or follow or suck up, to a single individual on or off planet. What are your thoughts on that?
well, every time I've dropped my, since I moved from Marrakesh to Ireland, I had to drop my kids off at school, and every time I dropped them off, I'd say the same things. Have a nice day in prison. Remember, everything they're teaching you is bullshit. You're gonna have to unlearn it. And thirdly, question everything, including this. And it's served me well. I mean, the thing about the simulation has been interesting because I've got 5 children, and three of which are now out of that system, thank God, and following their dreams to some degree. That in different parts. I don't want to go into detail. I don't talk about my children specifically, but my daughter and I have a lot of good conversations over the years, and I've been telling her this is a simulation since she was born. And over as a teenager, it's been great chatting to her because she'll go, "Can you stop telling me it's a simulation, please?" I said, "Well, it is." And when you've realised it is, it makes it even more amazing because of how real it is.
Yeah.
But then all these magical things have happened to me that give me no choice. So when you say courage, I don't see it as courage at all. I just see it as like, well, when the thing happened in 2020, I got nagged from above to start a YouTube channel, and at the time I was like, what am I going to talk about? Well, I didn't realize how much I knew. I didn't realize what I'd been through was actually useful to share. And my quest for knowledge has been useful to share. I've met thousands and thousands of people now that, well, tens of thousands, hundreds, 50,000 plus probably, who who've given me the feedback to know that I'll carry on because it's good. And that's why I said, I'm a bridge, because when I learned that thing from Dolores Cannon about people in their 50s at this time being bridges, so it was like between a warrior and a healer. And now 5 years ago when I heard that, I was very much warrior mode, very much like I'm no, and I'm going to show. And what it turned out, I was, and also I couldn't stop doing jokes or dressing up as Spider-Man in the middle of COVID on YouTube. And there was a part of me that was like, how can I know there's a genocide going on, yet here I am drinking wine, dressing up as Spider-Man and trying to make people laugh. But it was such a powerful thing to do. I'm not saying that it was any good, but it was a powerful thing to do because it's like you got to laugh in the face of this stuff because humor is one of the biggest gifts we have. Internal and external. Don't stop telling jokes. It's so important, or trying to see the funny side of all of this because it's not as serious as you think it is, even though it's extremely serious. And it's holding those two thoughts in your head at the same time. And ultimately, it comes down to a very simple thing. Are you looking after yourself and enjoying this process? So, I mean, I did a video yesterday saying people were, there's so many psyops going on, especially in social media. People saying stuff like, it's not safe to go out, it's not safe to get on a train, it's not safe to go to a
God.
restaurant, it's not safe
Yeah.
to do. That's part of the psyop.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
what that's doing is generating fear, which is loosh for the
Yeah.
fourth dimensional entities, but it's also means the population's easy to control, and you've got to get past fear. All of this is about learning how to get past fear and knowing that there's a void there, but stepping into it, and ultimately that's developing trust in your creator. I mean, my car broke down the other day. The fuel tank fell out. It could have blown up. It could have, and I drove it back, sparks flying. It could have gone off any second, but I knew I'd be all right.
The
And
fuel
it's
tank fell out of your car.
Yeah, yeah. So
Like,
I'm in the west of Ireland. Everything rusts here super, super quick, and I've got an
okay.
old Jag, and it just while I was driving along, and it made a terrible noise, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" But I'm in such a state of zen. I was like, "Well, if I'm meant to go now, I'm meant to go," and I was like, "Well, I've not gone, so I'll just drive it home." And now it's being fixed, and move along. It's not a big thing. It's not a big story. It's just I'm enjoying even the stuff that would freak you out in the old days. I'm just enjoying it, and that idea of between warrior and healer, I didn't understand 5 years ago, but then 2.5 years ago, I opened a healing center.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, oh, well, I'm a healer, okay, and and it makes me laugh. It's amusing to me.
Yeah.
But we've saved so many people from hospital. We've
Oh,
reversed so many problems. We've changed people's life. I mean, I saw two guys yesterday in the cafe, both of which we've helped enormously. And I'm like, you are now the ambassadors because nobody around here wants to listen to the stupid, crazy conspiracy guy. They,
from England.
yeah, exactly. The blow-in from
That's the
England.
other thing.
You
From
know, I
bloody
mean,
England.
every time when we open the healing center, every time we do anything, there's a demonically possessed woman who lives in the next village who's Ireland's biggest shill, and she'll put up stuff white supremacist, fascist, homophobic race. I mean, the list is like this. Mark Attwood, who's
Jeez.
offering bleach to cure. It's crazy. She was
What's
outside.
wrong with these nasty people, these little witchy wounded? I mean, they're so wounded. Line them all up. Everyone's got the
Yeah.
same thing in common. They're in pain, they're unhealed, they're angry as all get out. They cannot cope with life. They have to project onto love, onto light, onto potential, onto possibility, because it makes them look at themselves, so they fight against it. I know, have known, I've dropped them all off at the swamp recently. So many people like that. And now it's just like onwards and forwards and the individual, journey. Bless your heart. Do you want to show us anything to do? Because you were doing hyperbaric chambers.
Oh,
Um,
it's come a long way since then.
yeah, do you want to share with us anything
Yeah.
that you care
Yeah, I'll
to?
just pull it up.
Darling.
If I can. Where the fucking here it is. That should be it. Is that it?
Yep.
So it's Live 5D Health there. We've got
Live 5D Health. That's the name of your website and company. Brilliant. Very
well, it's
good.
not a company, it's a private members association.
Got it.
So we started with hyperbaric oxygen. We've now got a luxury spa, sauna, cleanest water, best water in Ireland,
Mm.
living water, cold plunge, hyperbaric oxygen, red light therapy, Brown's gas, UV light, quantum healing. exercise of oxygen, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which everybody should do. It's
Yeah.
just amazing. And we've got there's Gary, my partner, in this. There's me with looking shit, looking
Oh, you look
whenever we want.
cute. Again,
But
another state you go through: long hair, short hair, grey beard. I mean, no beard. I mean, it's
I am
great.
constantly moving. And then we've been running retreats this year, which has been amazing. We have visitors from all over the world. We've got the Tesla stuff, dolphin painting. We've got loads of things in here. It's just amazing, and that's been just a hell of a journey.
Oh,
And we've had 850 franchise inquiries, which is
really?
nuts. Because 5 years ago, I said, "There's not," because I ran businesses for years, and I was like, "I'm never doing that again. I'm never employing people again." And now we've got now I've got all these people, and we've got big plans. I mean, my take on all of this is there's a lot of things we could unpack in this hour, but about disclosure, about factions, about all sorts of things. But one of the things that really hit me was that in the I don't even like calling it a movement because a movement needs to be like cohesive, and this one isn't. It's in this truth world, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of ideas that I think are infiltrations and spiritual carrots dangled on a stick, such as the RV and medbeds, right?
Oh God, the RV,
So,
bloody hell. Nasara Jasara, let's not live life until that's happened. So and so got her mortgage paid. Prove it, love.
yeah,
I
that's the
can't, but I
thing.
heard about it. That's what I'm saying too. All
Yeah,
the bollocks of all the years and all the poor sweet people that believed it. And we've got a responsibility to those people, not insulting them, calling them sweet, but humans, we're naturally trusting, and
yeah,
people shouldn't dump and misguide and lie and knowingly. And if you've messed up, own it. Like stand
yeah.
publicly and say, I'm really sorry. I believed somebody and now I don't. So sorry
Well,
about that.
that
You know what I
that's a
mean?
sign of intelligence, right? Is saying, well, I used to believe this, but now I've changed my mind, or that's an interesting point, whatever, and I'm always open to that. And I'm not saying that Nasara Jasara isn't real. I'm not saying the RV isn't real, and I'm not saying the technology for medbeds isn't real. In fact, I think they're all real, but they're not there yet. And even if they don't come, I mean, you got to look at it like this. What have you got today? What have you got right here and now? And that's what I kept getting. And I got another message from above, open a healing center. And you'll like this. I've just talked about being a bridge, right? I was on the bridge, on Bridge Street, when I had this thing. And then when we opened the place, it ended up being on Bridge Street, overlooking the bridge. And
Wow.
somebody had to point that out to me because I was so busy setting it up, I hadn't noticed. And somebody said,
God.
you talk about being a bridge, you're on Bridge Street. I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't know.
That's so
So,
great.
yeah, I know exactly. And that's when it becomes fun. When you realize actually it's all fine, and I've been through so much in my own life anyway that what are you going to do? I mean, that's why I started the channel. I knew there was a new world order plan 20, 30 years ago, and I knew, I'd left the Air Force knowing that there was something wrong at the top of British society 36 years ago. So, and I've been through being suicidal, I've been through divorce, I've been through lots of death, I've been through so much that it's like when it came to it, I actually, I knew about the plan to put dots on the doors and round us lot up and everything else. But I also knew at the same time we'd already survived the plan where Clinton was supposed to win in 2016 and we were supposed to go to nuclear war in 2017. So I know that we'd already dodged the biggest bullet in history. I knew all about the FEMA camps and the guillotines and all this crap. And I was like, well, we're still here. And this pandemic isn't exactly what it was supposed to be. And that's transpired. We were supposed to be in lockdowns for 10 years. We're not. So
Mm.
what's going on? And it was just a simple question. Am I willing to die to stop my kids growing up in the New World Order? That was the simple question. And the answer was yes, I am. And then the next question was, well, what can I do? Well, I'll start talking because I'll write some poems. What else are you going to do? We can't. There was no way we were going to organize with guns and storm parliament and stuff like that. We couldn't. We're just not organized enough, and we haven't got that. So it is a spiritual. I knew it was spiritual because I kept getting told it was, and
Yeah.
I think, I just thought, what's pragmatic? What have we got? in front of us. What can we do? Well, I'm really good at business, so I'm going to go and open up a healing center, and we'll make it a private members association, and we'll make it donation based, so nobody gets turned away, and we'll see how it goes. And it's just amazing. It's been amazing. So
Mm.
from that perspective, I think that I don't. I'm not putting myself out there as any, oh, isn't he amazing? No, it's just we have this power. And all of us have different skills. Not all of us can do what we're doing to talking online. Not everybody has to. Not a lot could take it because the
Mhm.
abuse, I don't know about you, but the abuse I've had over the last 5 years has been shocking. But at the same time, thousands and thousands of people write to me every day saying, keep going. You don't know how much this helps. Da, da, da. So I keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful. I feel honored to have been asked to do it. And I think I'm pretty good at it. And I'm like, I've got a thick skin. I don't get emotionally attached to too much either. I'm emotionally attached to humanity surviving and thriving through this. That's what I'm emotionally attached to.
Mhm.
And I know we can do it, but we've just been in the dark. And
Mhm.
it's like the vision I kept getting was a hand over the bridge,
Right.
right? There's that bridge again. And I think you're a bridge, and I think a lot of people, good people out there, are doing amazing work all over the world. And we need to focus on the good news. I mean, I did a video yesterday. I listed 10 pieces of good news in a video yesterday just to counter this psychological fear, fear, fear. You're all going to die. You're going to be stabbed as soon as you walk out your door. You're going to be blown up by World War III. You're going to die of the flu. You're going to put the mask on. You're going to, I mean, it's like, it's hilarious, really.
It's hilarious. And it's sad how many people still drop down emotionally. They drop back into that anchoring of doom and gloom and all the rest of it. I mean, we have to have the awareness to know what the psychological operations are in order to decide whether we're going to go down that road, or to stick here, stick with the healing. You can't ignore what's happening, but you can choose to emotionally plug in to it. As soon as we plug our energy in to any one of those batteries, we're being loosed, as you said earlier, I think off camera about the looshing. And yeah, we are brave, and there's no question. Like I too have, like really suffered physically, emotionally, mentally, every imaginable way. And I'm never going to fall on the sword or die on the hill for any single individual. My heart, my love is for my brothers and my sisters on my planet. And if there's a motherfucker in the way, I'm going to move forward and mow them down. Get out the way, bitch. You're hurting my brothers and my sisters, especially the children. You are in trouble. You better know what time it is. And it's not about big words and big, demonstrations here and there like I'm doing right now, pontificating, hypostulating. I mean, it's like one thing I say is like to really know who someone is, watch what they do, not just what they say. Watch what they do. Who they show you who they are. I remember years ago, you're probably Robert. He wrote the book Story. Robert. Oh my God, Robert McGee, the very famous writer, philosopher, like the great actors of Hollywood in the old days would go to him. Robert McGee. Anyway, he wrote Story, and it's basically how to write scripts and TV
Hang
shows.
on. Is that the same guy that wrote Adventures in the Screen Trade? Because that's the best book on script writing ever.
I don't think so. I beg to differ. My guy's better than your guy. Anyway, so I can't remember it, but anyway, his book is called Story, and it's absolutely brilliant, man. He was an old man when I met him years ago, like in my 30s, and I went to Las Vegas, and it was 3 days, 10 hours a day, sitting in a theater listening to this man, and he broke down the Casablanca. For him, that was one of the greatest stories,
Yeah.
one of the greatest sets and scenes, antagonist, protagonist, all of that, and I remember walking up to him saying, "Thank you so much." 10 hours a day. And he was very aggressive and he was quite mean. And if your phone went off, he would assassinate you. It was really quite like, nerve-wracking. But I went up to thank you so much for a mind-stretching, butt-numbing like 3 days. And the thing I learned from him was he said, if you want to know who someone is, watch them under the greatest pressure. Watch
Yeah.
what they do under pressure. And I
Yeah.
have retained that and I watched that. Go ahead.
Robert McKee.
That's it, Robert McKee. I said McKee. Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. Aggressive, assertive, but knew his craft and knew how to create a story that is accessible in all the multi layers that humans will read or feel or sense or emote or empath.
Connect.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what humans are. We are multi-dimensional beings in this physical vessel that you call a meat suit or a cosmic meat suit. And we are here to access, information. And the trick is not to follow a main leader, not to give your power into one portal of information. That's how we get out of the game. That's how we navigate the game. And that's how people like you and me, we've known each other a long time. We've taken breaks here and there, and love has brought us back together. And this is the time, a timeline or essence or whatever. It's like Danny's a grey. No, Mark Atwood's a grey. Danny's a Satanist. No, Mark Atwood's a Satanist. Danny's a pedo. No, Mark Atwood's a pedo. People have come and infiltrated us and me especially, and other friendships I've had, and gone, this is this, and this is this, and if you do this, this is this, and you know, I listen to some, unfortunately, but that's also part of being human and being on a journey, and we want to trust people, don't we?
Well, it's part of growth. I mean, it's interesting you brought up this book's story because I read Adventures in the Screen Train by William Goldman 30 odd years ago. And that's when I learned about the hero's journey, which is what this really is. And the hero's journey, I mean, a lot of people have a go at him, but David Wilcock's stuff about the hero's journey was 100% right that he was putting out 15 years ago, really.
Yes.
And
Did
and I
great work.
and I connected to that because I knew the hero's journey. In fact, I mentioned the Doctor Who thing that went to the West End. It's because I applied the hero's journey to the script.
Ah,
And we're in the hero's journey on a micro level and a macro level. I mean, that's what the 26,500 year cycle is. We're at the end of that, and we're in this kind of, and it's going to look like I've been saying this consistently for since I started my podcast. It on the surface looks like all hope is lost, and there's all these naysayers everywhere. But Luke Skywalker at the end of Star Wars use the Force, Luke does it, boom, it's all done, and then it all turns on a dime. And I honestly think that's what's going to happen. And because I know that's why I call myself an apocalyptimist because I just know there's going to be okay. And even if it looks like it isn't, you're an eternal soul, so who cares?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and it's that point of getting to when you don't get dragged out. I mean, if I get a speeding fine or something, I mean, the amount of court summons I've had in the last 5 years for silly things like TV licenses and speeding fines, and the police will come to the door, and they did when I was in America, my son, they terrified him, thinking I was going to go to prison over a speeding fine. And I was like,
Oh,
you have to calm down. I mean, if I'm supposed to go to prison, that's part of my experience, but I'm doing this to stand up against them. And he says, wisdom comes out of the mouth of babes, right? And he said, well, why are you risking everything over a little speeding fine? And I was like, do you know what? He's right. You got to pick your battles, and I've done a lot of work with sovereignty and natural law and common law. We're in the middle of a course we're doing right now with a guy in America called Nash. It's brilliant. It's called The Truth Path to Sovereignty. And it's about becoming the spiritually discerned man or woman. And what does that mean? Well, because you can tell, and that's really funny about, you can tell people till they're blue in the face that they can write to the debt collector and say, well, show me the wet ink contract or whatever. And then they buckle because it's a spiritual situation where you can't just learn the words, get a template and send it. You have to inhabit it. That step. And like you said in the video game, you have to earn the points to get to the next level, and you have to power up. The power up thing is a big thing for me. And that's what I think all of there's been so much knowledge, simple stuff when I look at it now, but it's still new knowledge to so many people, like high dose D3K2, high dose natural vitamin C, living natural structured water with Celtic sea salt, iodine, Lugol's iodine, magnesium. You're missing, and all of these things. But what they do is they clear your vet. And then a lot of what's happening, I mean, for me, I've stopped drinking. It's like, I can't believe I've stopped drinking. I was drinking. We were flying planes in the RAF drunk. You know, I was a journalist at the Daily Telegraph years ago, and it was just 2 hours work and then straight to the bar. Everybody, you know, it was like part of the culture. So it's quite amazing to me that I don't really drink. I mean, I have occasional one, but I don't enjoy it at all. And I'm so much happier that I've done parasite cleanses and seeing the effect of that. The two guys in the cafe yesterday was mind blowing because they were both telling each other how you know one had a terminal diagnosis 2 years ago. He was dead, but now he's not. And it's like seeing him talking to another guy that I know who's lost tons of weight and has got all his strength back just through simple things that
Mm.
I've influenced. And I'm watching them talking. I'm like, okay, you are now the ambassadors. You need to go back into the town and spread that word because people wouldn't speak to them because they thought they were dying because they'd lost so much weight or whatever. And
Oh,
now they're seeing them and they're going, hang on, I thought he was dying. Well, he looks 10 years younger now and he's bouncing around. What's that about? And that's the shift that I'm seeing on an anecdotal local level and I know that that's happening internationally because I've met a lot of people all over the world since then, since I started this. And that is there's so much positivity to take from that in the middle of this, you know, nonsense that I just keep pushing that message because it's simple stuff, really.
I love it. It's so perfect. And like you say, you know, be your own kind of ambassador, be your own, you know, proof to self before you kind of expertise out there. And it's nothing like, you know, physical evidence. I always bang on about it. I mean, that's how I've learned in this life. If I've seen an extraterrestrial, it has been because they've stood in front of me in physical form. Um, or I've seen
Tell
some in
me,
hologram too, but
you've mentioned that a couple of times, and I don't think I've heard you tell that story. What have you actually seen?
oh, well, several. I mean, there's a Pleiadian extraterrestrial called Thorhan Aredian from the Galactic Federation of Worlds. He is the most beautiful being I ever laid eyes on. And the last time I saw him physically in person, just trying to remember, was in Costa Rica in my house when he was looking out of the window. I don't know if you remember my house in Costa
I
Rica.
do.
Windows,
Lots of
yeah,
glass. Yeah.
yeah, all
In
glass,
fact,
yeah.
this story is coming back to me now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, out into the jungle, and I was on my laptop, like I am now, talking to you to a friend, Asha, and I felt the crackle in the room because people say that aliens, demons, and angels are all the same being. Not in my
Not
experience.
mine either. I
Thank you.
know, I talk about this a lot because Stuart Wilde, do you ever read his books?
No,
He was a great
give me
teacher.
a title. What was what's a?
The Infinite Self.
I've heard the book, but I haven't read it. Yeah, I've heard the book.
I
Um,
was a big fan, and he said they were demons, and I was like, and this is 20 years ago, and I went, no, they're not, because I've seen them my whole life, and I was like, they're definitely not
Yeah. But you
demons.
see, religious people who've got the religious program, which I had, I deleted mine because I proved otherwise at 7. You know, the adults are still terrified and they're all scared of going to hell. That's why a lot of them are in church. They're old, they're scared of dying and believing what they've been told. And at 7, I realized, oh my God, adults are all liars and they can't see what I can see.
Yeah,
But yeah, so when an extraterrestrial energy comes into my field, there is a crackling with my electromagnetic field or my aura
yeah, I get it.
that picks, yeah, that can read that resonance. If an angelic presence comes, it is, see my beautiful angels. I've always got them around me somewhere. The angelics are a higher intelligence. They're a high, beautiful.
It was
See,
in my pocket.
that's why we're mates because of the angelic frequencies. So, the angelic resonance is higher, higher. You can feel it, you can hear it, you can smell it, taste it, sense it. Higher resonance. ETs, extraterrestrials, I don't care what dimension they're from, sixth, seventh, eighth, doesn't matter. They're on a different resonance too. The demons, depending on the level of the demon or the principality, whether it's a general, a duke, a regular, you know, a human that was so negative here that is in the earthbound frequency, but also connects to the lower dimensions of a demonic principality, they too have different streams of communication that is at times the lower the density or the more evil or dark or without light the being is, it will be a deeper growl or a deeper sensation in my field, like a low Gregorian, as we would relate to it audibly, a lower Gregorian kind of, tempo and sound. So, there isn't a human or person on or off planet that can say to me, Dani, you're wrong. I'd be like, shut your mouth. I've experienced this. You cannot influence me because now, if it can be proven that I've been tricked, otherwise, because we got to make a stand at some point.
Yeah.
I'm open to everyone and everything. I didn't mean to say shut your mouth, actually. That sounds very obnoxious. And I can be obnoxious at times, but I
No,
so
that's
know.
righteous indignation. That's all right.
But I've lived it my whole life. I didn't read a book, see a film, hear a story. From my birth, I've been experiencing my actual birth. I remember that's why I wrote about it in my book, Angels, Demons, and Aliens, seeing as you asked the question, and we're going to share our broadcasts on each other's channels. So I know it. I have bled, tears through this life so far, knowing the difference, the frequency, the vibration, the resonance of these beings, and they are not the same. And so when someone says, oh, an alien's a demon, I mean, some of them mimic. The demons will pretend to be aliens. The demons will pretend to be angels. I've experienced that too.
Me too.
So that's my right. So that's my response to your question there. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
Well, no, it's great to hear you say it because it's very similar to me, and that's the thing that questions I've been asked over the years, like why do you keep talking about this stuff? It's like, well, because it's real. It's
Yeah.
and I'm trying to work it out, and it's okay to. It's when people get married to ideas, that's where I get a problem. When they get stuck and then they double down on it, that's a trap, you see, and that's what a lot from a spiritual perspective. All of these things that have been happening are traps. I mean, David Icke wrote a book called The Trap. I think I've got it here. And I think he's right about a lot of things, especially the soul trap and falling into that. And there's a lot of going back to saying what I said earlier about question everything, including this. I keep telling it's like it always comes. It's all in life of Brian. You're all individuals. I'm not. And it's that's the best joke ever written. And that's what it is. It's just like come along for the ride,
Uh,
pick up what is right for you at the time, and then learn from it and see it as fun. Isn't it? It's fun. I mean, I can go outside, call in the ships. I've done it all over the place, and it's fun.
and
You
it's
know,
easy.
it's
Easy.
easy.
Don't
It's
need a
easy.
conference. And anyway, who sells tickets to see a Skywatch? No one. I mean, if you're at the conference, that's different, but no one owns the sky puppets.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the craft are there. Now they could be military craft. A lot of the craft we see that we think is extraterrestrial isn't. It's military. They just
Yeah,
reverse engineered. As you know, at my conferences, we brought in tons of extraterrestrial, like real spacecraft and military craft. And a triangular craft is now in this day and age largely a military craft, a TR-3B or a TR-9. At Eastbourne, May 10th, my last event in England this year, 2025, we had a beautiful advanced TR-9 craft come over the beach in Eastbourne. Over 2,000 people were there witnessing this. And so many thought that's a UFO. It's like, no, that is a human-made, reverse-engineered, anti-grav military craft. And people like me are here to bring that information and that physical evidence, because we need to be seeing it, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, no, that's why I get. Why didn't you video it? Well, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And I've posted quite a few videos when I can, and it's so interesting. This is my whole point. It's too interesting not to talk about. And if you have these experiences, my advice to everybody watching is just get out and tell everybody. I mean, living in this town, talking about UFOs is really particular to this town because this is Boyle in the west of Ireland, and there was a UFO crash here in 1997 in the Curlew Mountains, which I can see from my window. And that crash, hardly anybody here talks about. It's now hushed up. But two people came here. One was an astrologer, not an astrologer, astronomer, and I've interviewed him on my show, and he moved here because of it and set up a space telescope and has recorded 40,000 UFOs, 18 of which are totally irrefutable. And there was another woman called Betty Mailer who came here, who was like one of us, and she set up the UFO Society of Ireland and ran UFO conferences in this town out of her own pocket, got all the biggest names from around the world to this little town in the west of Ireland 25 years ago. And when I first this town's been pulling me in for years, but when I first actually fully moved here, I was like, the first thing I thought about was restarting the UFO Society of Ireland because she'd passed on in 2011, I think, and I started talking to lots of people about it, and the stories. It's amazing the stories you can get if you're staying in an Irish pub until 1 a.m. You go and you go and find a farmer who's drinking on his own, and you just have a chat with them, and they're great guys, right? And then they start telling you the stories about the glowing stones and the ships and the cows and these lights and all of that. And you say, well, why haven't you ever told him? And they say, well, sure, who wants to listen to that? You know,
Yeah,
and they just take the piss out of you if you tell them anyway.
yeah.
And it's like everybody has a story, and not, and a lot of people when they see the ships, they'll video it and go, Jesus, I've never seen anything like it. It's a ship, it's a ship. And these are people that won't necessarily be public about it, but they'll send the videos to me, and if they do, I'll try to post them and stuff because it's irrefutable. So if once we understand it's irrefutable, I mean, we're not there as a species yet, and I'm hoping. I mean, what do you think to Three Eye Atlas? Do you think that's going to become irrefutable? Because
Um,
um,
I think that it's being used as for everything. It's being used as a psyop, it's a distraction. But when I lean into that energy, because we all can, every single being watching this, nobody can not feel that. So don't tell
yeah,
yourself that you can't feel it because that's a lie. Because we're energy to energy, we can feel everything. It's like I can lean into you, I can feel your field through the screen because the screen is physical, but we are energy, and people need to remember that. But you don't violate energy either. Like someone comes in my space, they're getting tasered. I have no compassion whatsoever. There are rules, right? There are rules. You
yeah,
will be maimed if you come into my field. It is non-trespassable. And people need to put those boundaries up to protect their energy from the negative Lucias, which is everyone that isn't aware or awake or has an intention to hurt. But through our Atlas, so I met a beautiful man, David Adair. He's on my
yeah.
channel.
No, I
He's
saw
on
that.
Michael Salah's channel. And he has a being that lives within him. He's not possessed. He is connected to a being off planet called Pithalum. And I believe the Three Eye Atlas is whatever, I don't know why they gave it that name, but anyway, the third eye, three, the
Third
Trinity,
Interstellar.
you know,
I mean, everything they do is on multiple levels, and that's
deliberate,
what I.
yeah,
Yeah,
numerology or whatever. Atlas carrying the weight of the world, the Greek god Atlas, whatever, Trevor, traversing the Atlas of the earth. Is it flat? Who gives a shit? Anyway, so there's a frequency in it, and we've heard about the hollowed out asteroids, and I believe that people, that beings, seafaring, other brothers and sisters who look just like you and I, and if you shoot them they're going to bleed. Oh, we can't get around that concept, can we? Yeah, we need to. So this beautiful plasma being is exploring, coming through, moving through. It's been happening all the time, but also people got to remember our earth is physically ascending, and as she's ascending into higher density, some of the black magic and spelling, right? Yeah,
that.
yeah, has all been removed, and now we are all witnessing more. It's there to be seen. So this isn't new.
No,
That is not new. They're coming through all of the time, but now we've got our attention on it. So
yeah.
the mudder fudders that try and control the game, they're like, oh fuck, people are going to see it. What do we do? What do we do?
Hmm.
Let's position it so that when we do our blue beam or fake aliens, hey, it's going to be in sync with the mass majority of mind on our planet. So, but there's people like you and me out there and others that we know and love and trust. It's a big thing to trust people. We're like, no, come on, guys, just get over it. But I think that energy that's in that vessel is the same as what lives within my friend David Adair. And he's the guy who at 17, he built a rocket that challenged everything and anything NASA had. NASA being the Nazis that came over from Project Paperclip, Werner von Braun, I can never say his name right, I don't need to, who cares anyway? And these Nazis that run NASA and keep all this information. I saw something on the news reel, it was like, we've asked NASA 3 times to reveal images. I'm like, are you wasting your time there, love? Like NASA, I would say, NASA, shut up, sit down, no one's listening to you. You had one job, you know what I mean? One job and you failed. So yeah, so now that's my thoughts on it. It's an energy frequency that's not harmful. It's coming through. It's like, oh Jesus, what's going on Earth? Let's go to Mars because the military are on Mars, of course. The American military are on Mars. We know that the militaries are on the moon. And if people can't get their head around it, that's all right, my love. At some point you'll see the proof and you just, do you. And Mark and I will do us, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. NASA got reclassified as an intelligence agency recently, which I thought was interesting. Intelligence. Um, you
They're
know
for
what I mean?
dummies.
Yeah, so it was never a space agency, and that's been confirmed basically. But
Yeah.
you know what? I connected to the energy of Three Eye Atlas. Can I tell you what I saw?
No, of course you can. Go ahead. I'm dying to know.
Well, I kind of mentioned these things flippantly. You know, some people have channels where on YouTube where they just talk about all the visions that I kind of like mention them in passing occasionally. I don't tell everybody everything, but yeah, I connected in, and it was like, and I think that what's coming into my head now is that this has coincided about 3 months ago. I just kept getting told go and watch the Star Trek films again, right? So I've sat and watched all of the Star Trek films again and because I was a big Star Trek fan as well until it went woke. So the early films mean a lot to me, and I had this image, and it was like being on a what you'd call a spaceship deck, and there was a table, and there was like a plinth, like imagine something this size. I don't know how big, like this size, right? So it's like that, but it's thicker, and it was on the table. And if you imagine it was like that thick, and it was black, and there was a keyhole in it, and there was a guy who I was behind. I was behind his shoulder, and he got this key, and it was a really ancient key, and it was really ornate and made of silver, or it looked silver. And he put the key in the hole, but nothing came out the back of it, so it was multi-dimensional. And he was unlocking the key, unlocking it, and then the vision stopped. I'm still trying to work that out because I thought that was really interesting. Because then the next day, I saw a video talking about Atlas, and then the same key came up in one of the visuals that somebody had put, and I was like, "Shit, that's the same key I just saw yesterday in a vision." So I don't know what that means, but again, that's why I'm an apocalyptimist. It's going to be fine. It's going to seem bumpy, but it's a beautiful journey. And if you want to, if Danny just said about the American military on Mars, and if that's news to you, go and read Dr. Sala's books. You know, because he wrote about this years ago, and there's lots of really, and he's proved himself to be a great. Great. I love watching Dr. Sala interviews because he just gets the best people on, and it's great to see these people that have got continuity because you do look at some of them and think, well, were they placed there 20 years ago because the bad guys knew what was going on? Because a big part of the way that the psyops work is there's a very long-term plan to it all, and people do get placed to. Because this is one of the things that I'm definitely an expert on because I've been through it so many times before COVID, before any of that, which is the idea of controlled demolition happening within a I call it ring fencing. I can't remember what I normally call it. Uh, I've forgotten what it is. I've bored Danny. She's gone off now. Look, because I'm struggling for my words. It's not a limited hangout. So everything's a limited hangout to some degree. And if it's there to capture you because as humans we have incredible care for people. It's how they pull off the mass immigration situation, playing on the fact that you care about people and you want to help people. It's the way they pull off you know, don't be a homophobic if you think that the TQ plus part of the LGBT thing is maybe that's not a good thing. Then suddenly you're homophobic. Well, no, they're just playing upon it's genius, but it's really simple once you see through it. So, I mean, I would say the Catholic Church is a limited hangout that was created because we are spirits having a human experience, and therefore they needed to create something to corral people. So therefore they have to tell you 80% is true so that they can then do a controlled demolition on you where they pull the rug from under your feet and you lose faith. That's certainly what's happened in Ireland. People who've lost faith in the Catholic Church are flailing around now because anybody that talks about God or spirituality, they've turned against that because of how let down they've been by the Catholic Church. So now they don't know where they are, and that's the perfect time for the Viper to strike and create all this massive illegal immigration here that is destroying villages and towns all over the country. But people are still too afraid to speak out in case they get called racist.
Well, guess what? It's not immigrants. They're not immigrants.
No,
They're soldiers.
yeah,
And I
we
am
know.
tired of people denying, and I am tired of people worrying, oh, I'm a nice person. Great, you be nice, but don't be an idiot. These are soldiers, and they have been boated in and shipped in and flown in by our government. So let's look at the useless, chinless wonders that run the British government. Oh my God, are you having an actual laugh? These buffoons in charge of my country, your
Yeah,
country, our country. Like I'm Scottish, although I've got a British
I'm
southern accent.
I'm English, even though I'm in Ireland.
Right, and I'm Scottish. So, the Celt in me, the warrior in me, the defender in me, the Henderson in me is like, you having a natural laugh. You mongheads have boated in these immigrant people under the guise of all they're fleeing. Where are the babies, the children, the mothers, the elderly? Did you leave them behind to fight the war for you, oh brave ones? Give me a break. Give me a bloody break. I cannot believe the level of stupidity. But do you know what? In being fair and kinder, we are under mass hypnosis. We are under mind control.
I'm
Everyone.
not.
Or not.
I'm
Um,
not.
but that's what I'm saying. So, and then, dare to mention, oh, do we mention, okay, they're soldiers between the age of 18 and 30 something from countries around the world. I watched it when I lived in America. I only moved back to England just over 2 years ago. So it happened there. Trump comes in, kicks them all up the arse, gets them out, right? They were given money cards. They were waiting, a standing army waiting to attack or vote for Biden. It's all been proven, so don't get all antsy, and I don't care either. So moving along now to England. What happened in England? So dare we ask, are they soldiers and do they all follow the same religion? Are they Islamic soldiers? Are they though? But are they though? Let us ask the question. If we don't question, we're not going to know. But we cannot be taken by surprise because our government voted the mudderfudders in. And why are they banged up in hotels? Well, they're not all, are they? I had one come to my door. I'm never doing Deliveroo again. I had one come to the door. He looks at me and I'm telepathic. If people need to worry around me because I can smell you, hear you, feel you, read you, see through you, see all the layers, see your entities attached to you that most people have, unfortunately. And I have to check my field so that no one's trying to attach into me
That's
because
constant.
it happens constant. God, the egos on people. No, I'm with Jesus, lovely, but Jesus isn't watching you 24/7. You got to do your own cleansing, Poppet. Oh, we're getting really into Definitely not Mark getting into it. But we have to have these conversations. So I'm curious and I'm suspicious and I want to know, is their religion Islam? And are they all together? Because there is a thinking that the Islamics want to take over the radical Islamics I'm talking
Yeah,
about, the
yeah,
ones with the murder on their mind, to make us submit to
yeah,
Islam, which is very naughty of them.
yeah.
And, you can't use force and fear.
Well,
That's
it's satanic. Ultimately, that's satanic
it, it's
energy,
the
and they're
planet.
demonically
Yeah.
possessed people, and that's the genius of Satan by create. I mean, all these religions were created so that we could have divide and conquer, and you can't criticize them then
But
because you're
Mark, the biggest joke of all would be if this is the case, that this is an Islamic undercover takeover, they're in for a hell of a shock
Yes, they are.
because the people that they think have helped them, like the governments, they all worship Satan.
Hmm.
And Satan's going to have the last laugh on them, unfortunately, although none of that's going to happen because the angels are going to come in and save everybody. No, there's no savior coming. And if people are offended, just pick apart what Mark and I are discussing. Just take a breath and just pick apart what if what we're saying in some accord or other is actually correct, right? We've got to be thinking and questioning everything, don't we?
100%. And that's why it's gonna annoy some people, but all of this is necessary. It's necessary because we were asleep at the wheel. I mean, I always think back to my nan, and I love my nan, but she got, I don't know how much to tell you really, but there was a terrible thing that happened in my family, and before she died, I asked her, why didn't you do anything about that? And she just looked at me with a fag on, and she went, because we were scared.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest lesson I learned. I was like, oh my God,
Mhm.
she was so scared,
Oh,
and that fear is is all pervading and stops people making decisions that are going to benefit them. So it's got to be scary, And I kept getting the same thing. The same message comes through all the time. That humanity has to be taken to its knees and to be crying out for its creator. And it's nothing to do with a savior because you are part of the creator. You're a fractal of God. So it's just getting to the point where you realize that the Christ is within you. It's not an exterior thing that's going to come and save you. Although that gets interesting when you talk about the angels coming because they're all part of this in this structure, this hierarchy as well, and they need to be asked for help, right? You have to ask them,
yeah.
and that's a very interesting process to go through, especially with the people like you just said who say, "I'm with Jesus." Well, very good, but you see, God put me in a really interesting situation because I grew up in a village in Northamptonshire, where a religious cult called the Jesus Fellowship, which became the Jesus Army, was created by a paedophile, by a satanic paedophile.
Oh,
And I saw that as a child. It literally grew as I grew all around me. And there were loads of kids in my class that were part of this religion. And, they were being abused. And I didn't know that at the time. I was a kid. But, that ultimately in 2018, 2019, you guys watching, go and look it up. Go and look at the Jesus Army, and you'll see that it was dissolved because of the sheer weight of pedophile law cases that were coming against them. And so they closed it down. And I grew up around that, which makes me very wary of cults and extremely wary of pedophiles.
well,
Because they're
yeah.
everywhere. Because they're everywhere. But it is demonic possession. That's all it is.
Mm.
And they've been. That's the. I mean, I wrote a book since I last saw you. That one, which is Practical Tools for Spiritual Warfare. I wrote that with Abby,
Beautiful.
and I talk about that in the book because them trying to recruit me was my earliest memory. That is my earliest memory, and I tell a story in the book about when there were two shadows in the room during the miners' strike, and I had a candle on the bed there, and I could see one shadow here, but there was another one the other side of the room with horns on, and I was 4 years old, 3 years old, trying to get rid of the horns, going, "What is that?" And that's informed my whole life. And I'm bringing this up for people watching this that have these experiences that have forgotten them, because often when you hear somebody talk about these things, it will trigger those memories that you've blocked or have been blocked by the system that's constantly trying to stop you remembering that you're a multidimensional being and that you're an eternal soul. Because a lot of people watching this came here on a mission, but they get, if people get too evangelical about something, I back off. Or if they get too, obsessed with one personality, you've got to, that's a sign you've got a problem there. And often the obsession will come through the demonic possession, and you have to just constantly be breaking it off and moving forward.
Yeah. And also one of the dangers or one of the psyops, personal psyops for everyone to be wary of is it doesn't matter how much work you think you've done, how much of a religious protocol or a spiritual protocol you've taken, you are always on guard, gently and lovingly, because our soul is the goal.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody to remember. But don't be fearful because, that's another illusion. Being scared all the time, that we're dipping down, we're a big light to anything negative. And now that a lot of the demonic principalities and entities have been dismantled, and they have because they were plugged into the greys, the ETs that were eating and, abusing and taking eggs and trying to hybridize into our humanity, right? The Naboo, the Mitra, for example. And then we have the reptilians, the Draco, and the Sakaar in particular. Now there's an element that has been removed there. Their plug-in was the satanic occult. So now what happens? They've lost their plug-in. So now they're all turning on each other because they have to. They're all telling each other secrets. So everything, and they're trying to save themselves. Good luck with that. And now it's all coming down. So, we have to remember that now there are some really negative demonic entities that are looking for other host bodies to possess. So we have to be mindful and wary, but not go into fear. Your protection is love. Your protection is light. Not to be wishy-washy, that's ridiculous. Oh, let's just run around saying, I'm love and light. No, get real. Focus on yourself. Bring up that joy, the electromagnetic field. Embody the light that you are. Get down into the lower elements of self, lower chakras. Get on with that healing. Heal that inner child. Imagine picking that little boy up, 3 years old, sitting him on your lap. Wrap him in your arms, rock with him, love on him, remind him he's beautiful, he's strong, nothing was his fault. I do this in my therapy sessions. Getting hold of that inner child in all of us, your little boy or your little girl, and if you were born with both organs, which makes you what we call intersex, then, be the one that is the more dominant energy for you. Or take the little boy and then the little girl on your lap and love on them too, because some people come in with both of those genomes, as we know. But ultimately, we're this or we're this, and we can heal this one element at a time. To me, that's the deepest, deepest, deepest. And there ain't a billionaire or a trillionaire or whatever the level of ridiculous numbers goes up with them all peacocking how rich they can get while we're all, suffering and trying to help our brothers and our sisters. It doesn't matter how much any of those entities have in terms of material possessions, money, they're screwed like the rest of us if they're not focusing on the inner child. To me, that's one of the greatest keys to freedom is that element.
Totally agree. And even more powerful than love is authenticity. Just look yourself in the eye every day and say, well, am I being as authentic as I can be? And there's always more layers that you can go past to get there. And that thing you said about, the goal, the soul is the goal. When you dig into that, you realize, well, why is it the goal? Oh, well, I must be really powerful then. And then that gets rid of fear.
Totally.
And that's the key. The key is getting rid of fear. And it's. I'm not saying it's easy, but then again, we do create that. So I do say it's easy to myself to make it easier for me. But a lot of people will be like, yeah, that's the great thing about doing a podcast. You get all the feedback. You get the bots. You get the demons.
Ah,
You get amazing people as well. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that discernment has been the big thing that we're all learning. And I had no barriers, no boundaries whatsoever in my life. I was a complete idiot. I'd let anybody in and I'd help anybody, and then I'd get burnt. And then I think it was, well, why did they do that? Then I'd be angry. That's what they want. That's their whole modus operandi,
Yeah.
to keep creating the food source. Because when I interviewed Jerry Marzinski, have you heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah, I've interviewed him about 4 times, I think. And Jerry came to the same conclusions as me, but not in the same way. He was a psychotherapist dealing with schizophrenics at the highest level, realized that the imaginary friends were demons that these guys were having conversations with. And when he spoke to the demons directly, which I've done, same thing. They were just very matter of fact. It's like, don't interfere in our way of life. This is our way of life. Leave us alone. And when you realize that's why evil is so banal. That's why when you look at Matt Hancock or Boris Johnson or Margaret Thatcher or whoever, and you know that, I mean, Tony Blair is a great one, right? Mass murderer, and yet there he is, very happily trotting out digital ID is a great idea, education, 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 you know, and it's like it's so banal, and that's the truth of it. It is. So be colourful, stop being afraid of being yourself, and stand in your truth and speak with an authentic voice and shake the shit off, shake it all off, because it's easy actually.
Yeah, it really, really is. It really is. Well, Mark Atwood, you gorgeous being. I love you. I have missed you, and I'm so glad to be reconnected, heart to heart, soul to soul, on this planet at this time, with everything now at the end. The journeys are at the end, and we come together, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder with our brothers and our sisters, and we take our planet back.
Well, it's great to see you too. You do great stuff, and I always knew you would. And yeah, keep going, and everybody watching, just keep going.
And subscribe to Mark Atwood's channel, guys. And please subscribe to my channel because the mother fudders every day are taking away subscribers. Right now, I'm under fierce attack. But I would really appreciate a ton more subscribers to help me grow. And you too, Mark.
Thanks, Danny. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you again soon, hopefully.
You too, my
And
love.
when's your next event? Send me details. I'll
Oh
come.
yeah,
I
GSIC,
want to come.
Galactic Spiritual Informers is September 26th to September uh, 10, 11, and 12, 2026. Billy Carson, David Icke, Kathy O'Brien, Praveen Mohan. Gosh, so many amazing, beautiful speakers. Max Lowen. Just, yeah, crazy. We're about to announce it all soon. But yeah, Eastbourne, Sussex Congress Theatre, September 2026. I'm so excited. All right.
Yeah, brilliant. All right. See
Lots
you
of
later.
love. See you
Bye, everyone.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.